Hi, spots and cheap pops! It is the days before Forbidden Door where New Japan Pro Wrestling and AEW collide, and we are your hosts. This is Silicon Steve Valley. On the other side, we got Laurenitis. We are dancing and partying right now, getting ready for the third pay-per-view of this season for AEW, and quite a nice go-home show to really pique a lot of interest that many thought was lacking going into this week. Lottie-dottie, we are talking AEW, but what a 100th video with Vince McMahon. How are you feeling now, my brother?
I'm elated. I mean, to have Vincent Kennedy McMahon appear on our show, it's a dream come true. So we definitely have that going for us. And most importantly, we have what would be probably one of your dream scenarios as a wrestling fan. You, Silicon Steve Valley, and a good portion of other wrestlers, wrestling fans, with the Forbidden Door here. And we are going to present these picks, and I'm really excited to sort of see where you're going to go with some of these things, because there is no other fan of New Japan that I know more than you. So I feel like I'm at a little bit of a disadvantage here for these picks. So, and I have the two match lead.
I have a question. I have to ask this. Do you know any other people that actually watch New Japan Pro Wrestling?
You're the one and only.
So there you go. Well, I'll take it by default. I haven't watched a whole hell of a lot since the Elite left, quite frankly. Ever since Kenny Omega, the Young Bucks, Bullet Club was my thing. However, I have followed Jay White so I have watched it, don't get me wrong, and I just watched the match with Okada and Jay White. I pay attention to the people I really like, and very happy to see at the top, we'll bring it up right away, Kazuchika Okada making his AEW debut. A lot of people saying he wasn't going to make it, and I was one of them. Kazuchika Okada, that coin dropped, the crowd absolutely blew up, and Kazuchika Okada will be in a four-way dance for the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship with Jay White, and of course, two representing AEW, who I don't think either have a chance of winning, Hangman Adam Page and Adam Cole, who we've already saw fight twice already. So I don't know if they needed to go with those two, but you have four fantastic wrestlers. You also have a little bit of drama going on with the Undisputed Elite and the Bullet Club. You saw Adam Cole not exactly being the truest cat to Jay White, but Jay White's one of the dirtiest players in the game as well. So that was really good how that whole entire storyline got a big jolt just by Okada showing up.
Oh, yeah. That was what was needed, to be honest with you.
Yeah, especially after the Bryan Danielson news. And let's, you know what we're going to do? We're going to roll through AEW, the highest. We're going to go through the matches of AEW, New Japan, Forbidden Door. And we're going to go into last night's AE Dynamite, maybe 2 nights ago's AE Dynamite when we go through, when this airs. And we're going to kind of recap what we did at AEW Dynamite as we go through the card for Forbidden Door. But before we get into the Forbidden Door, and before we get into all the matches that were pertaining to the Forbidden Door, we have got to talk about Christian fucking Cage. Absolutely rising right to the top of the very best heels in AEW. And I just could not tell you how impressed I was. It was literally the greatest heel promo of the year that wasn't done by MJF. Yeah.
I'm totally there with you. Like I sensed it when you texted me about him. Like, man, like Silicon Steve Valley's all over this promo, and then when I watched it later, oh my God, his words just cut like a knife. And the way he was treating and browbeating Shivani was great.
The earring one was fantastic.
He was great, and then just the way he was talking to the crowd too. It reminded me of like old school Edge and Christian in ways, just like cutting to the heart of things. And
it was even meaner though, wasn't it?
Yeah. Without the comedy, like it would cut to the bone, and it was way meaner for sure.
And honestly,
it was excellent.
Yeah. And the way he did it was that when a heel is that mean, it actually makes me laugh. It really does.
Yeah, and then he's a sniveling idiot when Luchasaurus shows up, and he's like, "You're choking me, I can't see," and he is just trying to like win him over and just totally coax him.
Well, so if you don't mind, I'd really like to get into this promo with Christian Cage. There we go.
Let's do it.
All right, there we go. So Shivani comes out already. And he just asked him what happened. And he just basically does the typical thing that he and Edge always do. They just crack on the new crowd, makes fun of their intelligence, and they start and he starts telling the reason that this all started is because he was pissed off. Jungle Boy eliminated him from the Casino Battle Royal, which I remembered in the back of my head. And I always thought I think all of us thought Christian Cage was turning pretty quickly.
Right.
But he stayed with him. And then he basically explained that he did it because he didn't want to wrestle that much. He didn't want to do any heavy lifting. And he just wanted to collect his big paycheck while he was managing Jurassic Express. And then once the gravy train dried up. He realized he had to do some dirty work and it pissed him off. So the whole problem here is Christian Cage is just pissed off. He has to actually work a lot more now. Which is so egotistical. And then he says he had to go do some research. And so he went to the cesspool that is Twitter and social media. Yeah. And he completely eviscerates the fans as well as I've ever seen, including MJF, who said the same kind of thing.
Yeah.
And he says, it's like this. Losers like these people out here tweeting away like your opinion matters, like you know anything about this business. You're telling me who I should wrestle with, what titles I should go out for, who I should hang out with. You know nothing of my business, all right? I am one of the best ever to step into this ring. I got it figured out. Thanks. And then he goes, the classic line, I don't go to the drive-thru and tell you how to do your job. So he's beating up Jungle Boy just to start off with why he did what he did. Then he goes off on the crowd, which is probably something he's wanted to do for a while, because a lot of wrestlers want.
Yep.
And then he starts talking about some of the other people he heard talking about how much money all the ex-WWE guys get. And we know who the hell he's talking about.
Right.
MJF said how you go buy another ex-WWE guy who couldn't even lace my boots while getting paid a lot more than MJF. And Christian then comes out and says, you want to earn my paycheck? Try having a match that people actually talk about more than a week after it happens. And then, of course, he puts over TLC. He talks about a match that changed the industry, a match that they named pay-per-views after, a match that parents tell their children to watch, which I told my daughter to, and she said, Dad, this is for children. Why are you watching it? It's embarrassing. I didn't. And then she went to her room. I don't know. So basically saying, you do that, and then you could have my pay grade, and until then, eat my crumbs and enjoy it. So he's basically telling MJF to shut the fuck up and do his job and deal with it. I mean, and that's only a couple days after Chris Jericho called MJF out saying that he's not as good as he thinks he is, and that 18 months is a long time, and he's not going to get paid, and that's his prerogative, but he's not being very intelligent is what Jericho is saying. Your reaction to all those comments by Christian Cage?
It was great, and you know what? We're only like halfway through this thing too.
Oh my! We didn't even get to the get to the main course. These were just the chicken wings and the salad right here.
Yeah, this is just a taste, if you will, and it was you were totally sucked in immediately. And he has you hook, line, and sinker, and it's like, okay, where he's gonna, and then he, the little sprinkles of like Tony Schiavone abuse was great too. Like him just telling him to hold the microphone up higher.
You interrupt me again, I'm gonna rip your earring out.
Yeah,
like he had no fucks to give.
No,
and we're not. And now he switches to Jungle Boy.
Yes.
And Shivani shows the clip of him basically saying, you raised a piece of shit. You raised a piece of shit, going off on Jungle Boy's mom and sister. And Cage said that he was giving Jungle Boy's mom an opportunity to apologize for giving birth to Jungle Boy. He then said the real reason that Jungle Boy's mom was so upset is that she was sweet on Christian Cage. She's sweet on old Christian. That's great. and that she wanted Christian to be Jungle Boy's father. Wow.
Yeah.
And this is where
cue the crowd shots after he said that too. They were like, "Oh." That was like the first time they went to the crowd reaction, and then you can definitely continue, man. It was just like one of those things where this is a great zinger.
Oh, and this was the loudest I heard the crowd all night in terms of engaged. They were pissed. Jungle Boy is arguably one of the most, I would say, top 5 or 6, at least in terms of AEW originals, certainly top 3 AEW originals, that homegrown originals that they produce. He's one of the most popular, and they were really in it. They were hating Christian Cage. Christian Cage was getting, and he saw it. You said there was times he smirked because he was getting so much heat. His job was perfectly done, and he knew it. As pun intended, as kind of alluding to what you just said, he really was putting on a concerto.
I love it.
So this is where it gets really like, wow, MJF like. I never wanted to be your father. I never wanted to be your father figure. You have a father, but your father's dead. The boos continue to just eviscerate him, and then he has to yell over. And that's probably a good thing, Jungle Boy, because he would be embarrassed and ashamed to see how you turned out. Wow. Dylan fucking McKay would be disappointed in his boy.
Yeah, he just really went for the throat and then just sliced it.
And he continued yelling over the crowd, and then Jungle Boy music hits, but, well, I guess it's Jurassic Express music hits, and out comes Luchasaurus. And I've been predicting he's going to be Christian's heater since all this started happening. He comes out and starts choking out Christian, pushes him back in the corner. And Christian, being the pussy coward heel, you got to love it. No, wait, we got to talk. And then Luchasaurus didn't stop until he said, "Remember what happened to Marco."
Exactly.
Referring to Marco's stunt. So where's that going? Wow. And then Luchasaurus stopped for a second and then went back in for the choke. And then he said, wait, you're like a son to me. And as soon as he said that, Luchasaurus stopped. And Christian said, we got to talk, but not in front of these idiots. We got to go in the back. He hugs Luchasaurus. They walk back together. And that's how you cut a promo. And that's how you stack the deck against Jungle Boy. That's how you get yourself over as a top heel in your company. Christian Cage, ladies and gentlemen, might have just started one of the great runs of his career in his mid-40s.
That line about his father being dead, the only time I could recall an Edge and Christian promo that cut to the bone like that was when they were in Dallas, and it was a line about JFK, something, I'm paraphrasing here, something along the lines that if JFK had us to spend another 5 more minutes in Dallas, he would have killed himself anyway.
Yeah.
That was shocking when they dropped that line. And that was like the Attitude Era. And it's even for that time was like, holy shit. But last night, what Christian did, or a few nights ago, what Christian did, incredible. And it grabbed people by the audience by the throats. He's going against the ultimate babyface in Jungle Boy. He's been babyfaced the entire time. And it looks like he's going to lose his enforcer. Yeah, Luchasaurus is definitely turning. I'm sure they're going to unmask him or give him a different mask, something like that.
They're got to change that. He can't be a dinosaur anymore.
No, he's got to drop it.
And he doesn't need to be. Does not need. He's not a bad looking dude. I've seen him before. And he needs to be. He's never going to be taken serious if he considers himself a real dinosaur.
Right.
So I think a whole entire gimmick change is on the way. So I'm with you there.
I mean, it should be extinct at this point.
Well, it's just interesting, and I think you're going to see some really great things in this feud. And all of a sudden, it's become the biggest and best thing in AEW, just like that. So kudos to Christian Cage. I just want to say that you absolutely crushed it, my brother, and thanks for not blocking me on Twitter like Edge.
Yeah.
I'm never going to say one bad. I never really said anything bad about Edge either. I said he was a mid-carder. That's all I said. I put respect on his name.
Uh,
That was a mid-carder. Kind of still is. I mean, he just got beat up by like low-rent mid-carders.
but it was because he took a stand, damn it.
And God bless him for that.
Right?
Oh.
He's like, no paranormal shit. And what do? They're like, all right, Cody's injured. You're our new face. You're out of the Judgment Day.
Sorry, we're gonna need you to be a babyface. Yeah,
Okay.
but I wrote you like 17 months of good writing as a heel. Yeah, but shit happens. I came back and I wanted to have some more control. Shut the fuck up. Oh, Vince, God damn it. You're going to be a babyface, just like you were a year ago. All right. But I'm not going to like it. I don't care. That makes it better for me.
Wow.
End scene. So on back to AEW, and we are now going to go to your review of. We're going to go now to your preview for this. Ladies and gentlemen, feast your eyes on what we call the Purple Nurple. It is the High Spots and Cheap Pops Pick'em Championship. I am going to be the longest tenured champion in the history of this competition. However, I am down by 2 matches going into AEW New Japan Forbidden Door. So we'd like to get at least 1, if not 2 today, maybe 3. We'd like to get back, at least pull within 1, and then we still have 3 more pay-per-views after that. So this is a much longer and more packed quarter than we've ever had before. This is already, I believe, is this our second pay-per-view, right?
Yeah, second now.
Second, we have Money in the Bank, SummerSlam, and we have, of course, AEW All Out. So this is a pretty long one, so 2 isn't too bad. But if you have a pretty good game right here, Silicon Steve Alley's going to have a little bit of hard time holding on to the old Purple Nurple over here.
This is a very important pay-per-view for me. I could really separate the haves from the have-nots with a few extra wins. And then when it's my time...
I don't think it matters as much, though, because you mentioned that me knowing more about New Japan. They're mixed matches, so I don't know if that's going to matter too much. But, hey, I'm going to don the Purple Nurple over my gorgeous shoulder as we go through AEW New Japan Pro Wrestling's first show together, Forbidden Door, and we're off.
And here we go with the first match. None other than that team that just has minutes of experience together, I think. Dudes with attitudes is what they're calling themselves. Wow. Did you hear this?
Yeah. So they both sides cut promos the other day. Dudes with attitudes. That is something it's something that Vince McMahon would have came up in 1988, setting up the Survivor Series matches, like the Teamsters versus the Dudes with Attitudes.
What? They're not union, are they?
The King's Court takes on the Dudes with Attitudes. And it's just the Bushwhackers, Roddy Piper and Jimmy Snuka. Yeah. I think they were a team. I think they were a legit team at one point. It was Jimmy Snuka, Roddy Piper fighting on the same side, Bushwhackers.
We got to find out what they called themselves.
I don't know if did they have names yet? Roddy's, it was Rude's Brood and Roddy's Rowdies. They were the Roddy's Rowdies. The Roddy's Rowdies versus the Dudes with Attitude. And they have painted faces.
And on that team, you have Sting, Darby Allin, Takahashi, and Takagi?
Shingo Takagi and Hiromu Takahashi. Shingo Takagi was actually a champion in New Japan Pro Wrestling during the pandemic. He is not the leader of LIJ, but they are in the same faction as Tetsuya Naito, and Hiromu Takahashi is one of the greatest super heavyweight super juniors in the history of New Japan Pro Wrestling, widely considered. So both in probably the most popular babyface faction in New Japan of LIJ. And so that's going to be a great match. I'm going to take that team, the Dynamic Dudes, as stupid as that sound is. I have a feeling Bullet Club doesn't get off to it's hard to pick against the Bullet Club, though. It really is. But I think because of the Kyle O'Reilly victories over Darby losing a lot lately, Sting's first match back, Sting has never lost on a pay-per-view yet. I'm taking the Dynamic Dudes for the win. Hey, did you guys talk about me?
You mean the dudes with attitudes?
The Dynamic Dudes with attitudes.
Wow. All right.
Ladies and gentlemen, John Laurenitis. I'm here to announce that People Power will be back. I stepped away from WWE, but I heard that there's a new faction called the Dynamic Dudes. And if anybody knows about the Dynamic Dudes, it's me, John Laurenitis. Wait. No, it's the Dudes with Attitudes. Yeah, Sting. I worked him back in 1991. We used to always run those shows on Saturday night. It was great. Ladies and gentlemen, John Laurenitis. All right. Wonder what he's doing in AEW. Good for him. Found a job.
You know what? They should bring him in. He has a Japanese connection.
He does.
See?
And that 18-year-old was never mind. I'm just gonna edit it out.
Yeah, I mean that's just a great move, having a guy who supposedly cheated on his wife as she was dealing with brain cancer.
I didn't know that part. Wow.
Yeah.
John Laurenitis. I wish he was back in here. I would grill him on that. Unfortunately, John Laurenitis has left.
You should. Well, maybe you can call him back. I don't think he's really busy. And you know what? You should probably consider having Laurenitis on the phone here during some of these predictions. He does have Japanese background. You might be able to give some insight. And plus, he's not busy. And you know what? Let me say this: as far as the Bullet Club, we didn't really mention who was in there. Young Bucks, El Phantasmo, and the other guy is Hikuleo.
Tangalao. Tonga, like the Tonga kid. Tonga Lao.
But what I have here, wherever I copied and pasted this from, is Hikuleo.
Oh, Tonga Lao's the other one anyway. I fucked that up. Sorry. Yeah, I don't want to go against the Bullet Club in this instance, but I just can't see Sting losing this match. I think it's going to possibly open the show, and I see Sting going over just because of all the things that have been going on with the Bullet Club. Kyle O'Reilly has a couple big wins. Darby Allin's taken a couple losses lately. And also Shingo Takagi and Hiromu Takahashi are two of the most popular wrestlers in New Japan. So I don't see that being a problem. I think that the Dudes with Attitudes win, and it's going to be quite a sight to see Sting standing tall with those three guys.
Very cool. All right. Yeah, I'm almost regretting my choice right now after hearing you about this. So, but we'll have to move on. It's been said. It's been spoken. It is what it is. Yeah. Next match I have for you here: Eddie Kingston, Shota Umino, and Wheeler Yuta versus none other than the Wizard, Chris Jericho, Suzuki, and Sammy Guevara.
This is a slam dunk for me. The Sex Gods back together again. Minoru Suzuki. Everyone loves Minoru. Suzuki-gun. They just got the loss on the main event. I think it's going to be the Sex Gods and Minoru Suzuki taking this one.
I chose Jericho and company as well.
The Sex Gods. All right. I didn't love that ending they had with Tanahashi.
I hated it.
Like Tanahashi and Moxley were staring at each other for like 5 minutes while all the brawls. Like, just have them stare and go off air with that. They could have brawled with them, and then finally they're together, and that's how you go off air.
Right. They stood there for like 5 minutes.
Like that. And the other, go ahead. You go.
Yeah, they stood around for 5 minutes or so while all hell's breaking loose around them, and they're just staring at each other. And there's a language barrier. So what are they doing? Just looking into each other's eyes? They're not going to go throw punches. Like, do something.
It was interesting but it did show this, that Tanahashi and Moxley were just so focused on the AEW Interim Championship. So that was something you could say. So I didn't kill that. It just was, if you're going to have them stare and have that moment, don't have all the action going on in the ring. Don't have it that long, because what I think they were doing is I think they started staring at each other too quickly. And then they were committed to staring at each other.
And it was uncomfortable.
And then it was just uncomfortable. It's like, They had the longest staring contest. And that brawl did not necessarily have to go the way it did. It was cool, though. It was a good go home segment. I'm really excited about the main event, but we're going to get in the main event later. But yeah, we are on the same page there with the Sex Gods and Suzuki.
Yeah, and we're on the same page with that ending too, man. That was not a good way to send it off, I'd say.
I rationalized it that the title meant that much that they were ignoring the violence. That's how I rationalized it, because Moxley did say in an earlier promo, which I love. We can get more into it when in the main event, but yeah. Moxley did say, reference in previous interviews that he wants to be considered the greatest wrestler in the world. That's what Moxley wants to be considered. He says he's transformed to a better man, he's transformed into a father, and he wants to transform into the greatest wrestler on the planet. So that is part of it. And he put Tanahashi over as possibly being one of the best. And he says if he beats Tanahashi, he can call himself that. So that seriousness that Moxley had for Tanahashi when all the violence, particularly involving Chris Jericho, I thought I gave it a little bit of a pass, but it wasn't great.
They were literally, Tanahashi and Moxley were literally the calm of the storm, Mr. Valley.
Well, that's that cool John Cena vibe that Tanahashi brings to the table.
You know what? I got to tell you.
Very cerebral, very calm. Tanahashi is one of the most calm of the superstars in New Japan.
Is he injured?
Who? Tanahashi?
Tanahashi. Yeah, I thought he was getting around, kind of labored in that ring.
He's not young. He's not a spring chicken anymore.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it wasn't smooth. It was just like, I'm like, all right, okay.
I don't believe he's injured too. I mean, they always banged up, but I don't believe he's injured to any extent. Look, Tanahashi 10 years ago was the A player. He was the ace. He's no longer that guy. He still has classic matches, but the Japanese style wrestlers, they usually do take it much easier in the tag, like most guys do, the tag matches. So you're going to see something special. I guarantee you Tanahashi's going to show you something special on Sunday.
Okay. So let's see here. So we have Kingston, Umino, and okay, we actually went through that. I'm sorry. Next one we have here is the Zack Sabre Jr. versus the newest member of the Blackpool Combat Club, evidently.
Ladies and gentlemen, who is it going to be? Is it going to be Sasha Banks? Is it going to be John Laurenitis?
Oh, what? Hey, I'm back. I tried to get out of here. I couldn't find the exit. How do you get out of this place?
Ladies and gentlemen, John Laurenitis. I don't know what you're doing here, John, but we want to welcome you to High Spots and Cheap Pops. Seems like you have a little extra time. You've been relieved of your duties temporarily. How you feeling?
Oh, no one's getting me back to me. I text my daughters. I text Brian Danielson, see if I can get on the show. And he just blows me off. And he's got an iPhone. And when I send it, it's green. That means he blocked me. You imagine that? Daniel Brian Danielson, blocking me. John Laurenitis. The saddest thing you ever heard.
It is pretty sad, I got to say. I mean, I can't believe that they would go to these lengths to block you. You've had such a good run the last few weeks.
Well, all I know is I love to spread love to all the people out there.
They certainly did that.
Yes, all the young, attractive paralegals and assistants that come in my presence, I spread the love.
Is that what you called it?
I called it many things. Sometimes I called it BDSM. Sometimes I think I called it cuckolding, but I'm not sure. It depends if Vince was there.
I would assume that would change things for the moods for sure. What was it like cheating on your wife as she was dealing with brain cancer?
Next question. That's dark even for this show.
Is it?
That is fucked. Usually it's Valley doing all that stupid shit. Wow.
I mean, I'm just saying, it's not going to be a comfortable Thanksgiving this year.
I'll tell you what. I'll just have her move to Florida and then join the Trump cabinet.
They seem to have plenty of openings.
Well, I don't pay attention. Never really voted. Doesn't really matter. It's rigged anyway.
It's interesting that you're appearing here while we're talking about AEW. Do you have any interest of working there?
I tell you what, I know a couple people there. I fired half of them.
What do you think?
Dax from FTR told me to fuck myself. And he called me a disgusting piece of shit. But I think he was more angry with Vince and not me.
Are you sure about that?
Malachi Black. You fired him as well, right?
Who? I fired a lot of people. You'll have to be more specific, especially black guys.
No, Aleister Black.
Oh, yeah, I fired him too. You're right. But I definitely fired black guys, right?
All right. Well, I don't know. That's getting a little too weird. Keith Lee and Swerve certainly says hi.
He's fat fuck. I told him he should work out or they're going to fire his fat ass. He didn't listen. And now he's still fat and he doesn't have a job.
John Laurenitis.
Well, it's good to be here right now. I can't tell you how excited I am to be meeting you guys on Zoom. Maybe upgrade the software, losers.
Which Bella was more disappointed in you?
It's hard to say. I haven't talked to either one of them in 2.5 years. Ever since I whipped my penis out at their friend's house.
It's a true story, right?
I wouldn't be saying if it wasn't. You think John Laurenitis, master of the people power and former vice president of talent relations at WWE, would come out here and spit lies about pulling out his penis? That's just not what John Laurenitis does. To be fair, though, I did start dating women over the age of 25, strictly.
That's good floor to have as far as parameters there, John.
Well, you couldn't imagine the looks I got in the women's locker room.
I'm assuming you were well liked there. I think Nia Jax alluded to something.
Nia Jax, not attractive. Never tried to bang her once. I honestly only hung out with her to hang out with Alexa Bliss when they were friends. Alexa Bliss. I think she got creep vibes from me.
You think you come across as being creepy, John?
Every once in a while. I don't try to be. It's just I like smelling women's feet and sniffing right up to their butt. It's perfectly normal if you watch certain movies.
Well, I think, John Laurenitis, you've been great. Is there anything else you got to say? Because we have to really get back to Forbidden Door.
Oh, I guess I know what a Forbidden Door is now. Taking Vince's sloppy seconds and then paying her a shitload of money. That's a Forbidden Door you don't want to walk through.
That in the HR button, the HR office, John.
I hear you. It should be the RH office because I was always really horny.
All right, John Laurenitis, everybody. That was going to get bad soon. We had to stop that. We're back listening to Forbidden Door. Talking about the Forbidden Door. John Laurenitis stopping by. We've had some real heavy hitters from WWE the last week.
Word is getting out. I think they see that we're sort of friendly, and they can have an open mic here and just say whatever. It's like clear the conscience.
Oh,
therapeutic. So here we go.
It really is. We're back to Forbidden Door.
We have Zack Sabre Jr. versus who could be the newest member of the Blackpool Combat Club.
Well, I think we all know I think we all are thinking it's going to be Claudio Constantino. Nilo. How do you say Cesaro's name? The winner of the very first prestigious Andre the Giant Battle Royal, the Swiss cyborg Superman, James Bond. I don't know whatever the hell else. He did a lot. He was there a while.
It was.
Intercontinental champion, U.S. champion. He won everything you could win in that except for the big one. But he did main event for the title one time at a pay-per-view.
Yeah.
So that was good. So Cesaro, we're thinking Claudio Constantino.
Yep.
And I believe he wins. I don't think he debuts and loses. I think.
Oh, no way.
Yeah. But that's going to be a hell of a match. Zack Sabre Jr. and Cesaro is going to be incredible.
If Cesaro shows up, if he shows up and becomes a member of the Blackpool Combat Club right off the bat, and they have Moxley, Danielson, Cesaro, and Yuta, I mean, that's a good foursome right there.
Yeah, you probably don't need anybody else.
No. Yeah, I mean, Cesaro's a bigger, taller guy, especially for AEW.
You need another younger one to go at Yuta, though. Yuta's so out of place right now. It's got these three legends. Then you have Wheeler Yuta.
Yeah. He got clowned by, what's his name? He got clowned by, oh, man, what was his? What's
Daniel
his
Garcia?
name? No, the older Japanese dude.
Oh, Suzuki. Oh, that was probably a privilege for that kid.
Suzuki put popcorn bucket on his head.
He's not the young spring chicken he used to be. He's got to kind of do some comedic gimmicky shit and just get the shit kicked out of him. Just get blows to the head and call it even.
Yeah.
Hey, don't hate the player, hate the game.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. So yeah, I'm there with you. I'm saying Cesaro, and it'd be great. I think it'd be a great addition for the Combat Club there.
Yeah, and another superstar for AEW. They can't get enough people on TV in 3 hours now, and you need to bring another big star. They got to figure out how they run their shows to build more interest, but that's a whole other conversation that you'll hear from Moment in the Valley later this week. And what do we got next, Lottie Dottie? We're rolling right now. So far, we only have one disagreement. I picked Dynamic Dudes with Attitude. No, John Laurenitis, you stay out of there. Can't get rid of that guy now. He's like a cockroach.
Yeah, it's almost like saying Candyman 5 times. As soon as he hears the word dynamic or dude, he's out.
Or vagina.
Shut up. Come on.
Next match, we got Pac versus Miro versus Malachi Black versus Ishii for the AEW All-Atlantic Championship.
Well, I have to correct you, Lottie Dottie.
What's that?
Ishii was injured last night and will not make it. Chuck Connors will be taking his place. It does not matter.
Okay.
Ishii wasn't going to win anyway. So
no.
I am going against my gut, and I'm picking Malachi Black to win this championship, not Miro.
Wow. And you and I differ there because I went with Miro.
He's the more obvious one. But I think Malachi Black's been doing a lot of work, and I think he might do more with the belt. Miro could come back and start destroying everybody. Miro cut a badass promo on Dynamite. I loved it. I'll take all the pagans and all the bastards and drag them through the forbidden door. All I wanted was my God, my gold, and my beautiful wife. Or gorgeous wife, he said. He's got to start saying hot wife again. That's a lot funnier when he sees hot wife.
His promos are great, man.
Oh, he's amazing. He's amazing. I'd like to see a babyface turn, and he goes out and he and Black actually feud over that belt for a while. That would be something fun to see, and it would work because they're both non-American born. So I think that would be a great first feud between those two. Miro can be a babyface attacking all of those pagans, unquote unquote. So
that's is that the deal with this belt? You can't be American and hold it?
No, you can be, but
okay.
But they want it to have an international flavor to it for sure.
Gotcha. All right.
It was any American. I think there was an American wasn't it? Wasn't there?
There's Canadians.
Well, there's one Canadian. Well, there are a couple Canadians. You're right.
Ethan Page. Who the hell did he wrestle? First match.
There's so many damn. You know what the problem is with the Bret Hart tournament? You forget what was part of that, part of the other one.
You're right. Right.
So they didn't have a lot. It was just weird.
Yeah.
But the reason that it is going to be Malachi Black and not Penta Oscuro is because Penta Oscuro cannot contractually wrestle against anybody from New Japan Pro Wrestling. Can't happen. So we knew going into the match on Dynamite last night that Malachi Black was going over. And Ishii, again, you feel bad. New Japan and AEW getting killed with this pay-per-view with injuries. They lose CM Punk, Bryan Danielson, Samoa Joe. I mean, these are all three major players that were going to be part of these plans, and that's not part of the case anymore. Now you lose another guy, similar kind of vibe, Ishii. So a lot of big matches recently, too. That's probably part of the problem. These guys were going full tilt. You had Dominion in New Japan a couple weeks ago. We're only a month out from Double or Nothing. So there's been a lot of big-time matches and big-time events that these wrestlers were all bringing their A game, and now a lot of them are banged up right now. And it shows it's so fleeting, wrestling careers.
It is. But the timing of it all has been really bad for both companies, really.
And WWE loses their two biggest baby faces in weeks. Yep. It's incredible. It's one of the weirdest times in professional wrestling I've ever seen in terms of injuries. But one company's move, I don't think Punk's injury really matters too much. Moxley's picking right where Punk left off. Love the story Moxley's talking about. We'll get to Moxley in a second.
Okay. Next match I got for us. None other than FTR, the most over tag team in all of wrestling right now. Representing there, Mr. Valley. Against Jeff Cobb and the Great Okan versus Roppongi Vice for the ROH and IWGP tag team titles.
That's right. And I think we're both going to be on the same page here. I think 7-star FTR walks out, and they're going to be triple champions, AAA champions, which ironically, because they're not contractually to AAA, they're on loan to AAA, they can actually wrestle in this match. AAA World Champion, Tag Team Champions, Ring of Honor World Tag Team Champions, and IWGP Tag Team Champions. And could that possibly, just 2.5 months down the road, could that set up a winner-take-all match against the Young Bucks, at least the Ring of Honor, or at least the AEW championships? This is exciting. I think after the Young Bucks now have that championship belt, that's heading in the right direction. And I think in my view, and I think your view as well, the best tag team on this planet, FTR, Dax Harwood, and Cash Wheeler, walk out as your IWGP World Tag Team Champions. And at that point, they would be the most decorating in terms of eclecticity, the most decorated tag team in the history of the business, of top promotions.
Yeah, they could call themselves the Belt Collectors.
Belt Collectors. I miss Kenny Omega so fucking much. Anyway, we move right along. And who do you pick? FTR?
FTR, absolutely, yeah.
We love it. FTR, all in on FTR. I don't remember a tag team that wasn't 2 single stars being this over in a very long time. I'm talking British fucking Bulldogs over.
Yeah. Like, the fans love them when they come out.
Oh, they got one of the biggest pops every single week recently. Yeah. And they didn't, and you know what? They didn't have that seminal moment with MJF where they turned on him. They only had a little shoving match. They never truly turned on MJF. Got to wonder if that story will ever be told. But all right, moving right along, Vladdy Dottie.
Next match I have for us is none other than the AEW Women's Championship match. Thunder Rosa versus Toni Storm.
I think you got to go Thunder Rosa. I don't think Tony Khan has the balls to take the title off her yet. I think the internet would explode because she's already a sympathetic figure on the internet. And there has been a little bit of AEW backlash to people, WWE people that come in right away and try to get a spotlight. Ruby Soho is certainly feeling that more than not, certainly when it came to Chris Statlander. So I think Thunder Rosa keeps it right here, but I do see Toni Storm winning this championship within the next 6 months.
That's a pretty good call on it, but yeah, I think Thunder Rosa as well. They're not gonna have her drop it immediately, so this will be a developing deal here for sure. So yeah, that's the way I see it. We got to hop on to the next match here. I say,
go ahead.
The IWGP United States title, none other than Will Ospreay, the champion, versus freshly squeezed Orange Cassidy, Mr. Valley.
I'm going to take one of my favorite bell-to-bell guys on the planet right now, Will Ospreay. Will Ospreay is going to beat Orange Cassidy. It's going to be similar, I think, a similar vibe to the Pac. If anyone remembers the Pac Orange Cassidy match at Revolution 2020. I think it's going to more remind us of something of that nature, where Orange Cassidy is going to take a lot of New Japan people by the side or by surprise about how funny and then how good he is in the ring. That's the thing about Orange Cassidy. You don't think he can have a banger because he relies so much on that gimmick, but when he needs to, he has bangers. So it's going to be interesting to see. However, Will Ospreay, it would have been nice to have him face somebody who can really, from a physical standpoint, match him move to move, wrestler to wrestler. I don't think Cassidy does that. I think Cassidy, because he's so much smaller, don't get me wrong, Ospreay's still going to do amazing things, but he's going to wrestle a little bit of a different match than you would see if he, say, wrestled Andrade or certainly Kenny Omega.
No, I hear you. And I got to tell you, watching Ospreay here, I am a fan for sure.
Oh, he's great.
Big fan of his.
His character evolved too. When he turned heel, it was a game changer for his character because he already had the stuff. He got bigger too. He had a very similar ascension as Kenny Omega in terms of his in-ring ability and the way their character developed. Kenny obviously had a little bit more success, but Will Ospreay was a former IWGP World Champion as well. So he's going to win this one in Maine, and he just won that U.S. championship. That championship as well. And so I don't believe he loses it here.
Yeah, I agree completely. But yeah, I've been very impressed with how his approach to the match. His facials are great.
Oh yeah,
like he's in tune. He sells beautifully. He hits hard. I'm like, this is he's got a lot of potential. I really hope he ends up in AEW. And
he's also, many people say, just as flippity-floppity as Ricochet, who many people consider the best high flyer. Will Ospreay is either 1 or 1A high flyer in the sport, and he didn't do a lot of that as much as he usually does. So you're in for something very, very special. I mean, these matches are going to be great, and for people who never saw New Japan, it's gonna be really surprising. And even though it's loaded with gaijins, meaning foreign wrestlers outside of Japan, it's still going to be a great indication of how good New Japan professional wrestling is.
Gaijins, word of the day.
That's right.
You are the only person that I know that knows that.
Well,
next match.
Look, I am an in-business insider. I've been in the business. I know what I'm talking about. Silicon Steve Valley doesn't play bullshit, and hey, look, that's why I cover New Japan. You covered NXT, I cover New Japan. That's what we did. We split it up. We both covered AEW and WWE. I was New Japan and Ring of Honor, and you were NXT. One of us continued to cover the company they were supposed
to. There's nothing to cover anymore unless that news is true.
Oh, I'm back. I don't do a good Triple H, so we're not going to go there.
Yeah.
So people were complaining that the United Empire lost two of their matches together. That's what Aussie Open was there for, to do the jobs. But if you notice, Will Ospreay had 2 singles matches. He won both of them. I've already had 1 singles match. He won that one. I anticipate him winning this one very easily. Well, not easily. It's going to be a great match, but I anticipate Will Ospreay really the slam dunk here.
You want to go to the next match?
Let's go on to the next match, Body Dottie.
So I think we both said Ospreay like 2 or 3 times.
Oh, I'm taking Will Ospreay.
You know what? Let me think about this again. Yeah, Ospreay.
I like that he's like a poor British. He's not classy like Zack Sabre Jr. or Regal. Yeah. Like sound like really classy, like gentlemen.
He's a governor.
Yeah. You know, I'm going to bleach your bloody head. This is all fat. You know, he's that kind of guy. He's Liverpool. He's not even Liverpool. He's a little bit, he's like drunk Liverpool. He's like drunken Englishman outside the dock.
Yeah, he's got a salty sort of personality.
He's great though, and I'm glad you brought up his selling, because he does sell with the best. That's another comparison I have him and Kenny. He sells moves and facial expressions. He's very, very similar to Kenny Omega. in a lot of ways. That's what I'm saying. They both have had that similar evolution into who they are. Both were great super heavyweight champs, super junior heavyweight champions. They both got bigger. They both turned heel, and the world opened up for them. So a lot of similarities there.
Yeah, so I think the next direction we're going to go here is none other than the interim AEW World Championship match.
This is going to be the main event. We can do it first anyway.
Okay, you know what? Sorry about that. Let me go for the other match first. We have the IWGP World Heavyweight title with Switchblade Jay White against Adam Hangman Page versus Okada versus Adam Cole.
Baby!
In a fatal four-way.
Which ladies and gentlemen, if you didn't see AEW Dynamite, I'd be shocked. You probably wouldn't be listening to us. But AEW Dynamite, the one thing about this, I have something really big happened. Okada showed up. And the one part of this pay-per-view, there was speculation Okada was having a child soon. So a lot of people didn't think he was making the trip. Okada surprised a lot of people. I don't think anyone thought, I didn't see anybody confident that he was going to be on this pay-per-view. Hangman Adam Page getting jumped by Cole and Switchblade Jay White just after it looked like Adam Cole was going to turn on Jay White. So you see those two having a little bit of mistrust. Jay White calling out Adam Cole for not beating Hangman Adam Page before that. So you see a little dissension, and I think it's going to come to blows during that particular match. But right as Adam Page is getting beat up, and it looks like Cole was about to hit him with the title, the coin drop hits. Got a really great reaction. I was wondering if it was going to be big or a little bit. It was a really big reaction. Didn't maintain throughout the entire run-in, which was a little awkward. Not too bad, though, but a little bit. But Kazuchika Okada, arguably, and I don't think it's even arguable at this point in time, he is the most dominant IWGP World Champion possibly of all time, but certainly over the last decade, he has the legend of Okada. People have never even watched him, but they've heard of Kazuchika Okada. He's probably more famous, that has never been big here in the States, probably the most famous Japanese wrestler I've ever heard, because there is this legend of it. Similar to, Antonio Inoki, similar to, we hear about this guy. I think that you get that with Kazuchika Okada, but I was just happy to see him. So I kind of let not the best debut I've ever seen happen pass, just because I was so happy to see it.
All right. Yeah, I thought the debut was a little bit of a letdown. It's because of, as you mentioned, the legend that he is. And I'm just really surprised that they're doing a fatal four-way here with him, of all people.
Yeah,
Caught me off guard.
Yeah, the question is, New Japan booked it where Jay White just won the title a couple weeks ago. You have to wonder why, if Okada was going to be in this match. Maybe they didn't know if Okada was going to be in this match. That could have been part of it. There could have been it just seemed like there were a lot of question marks for this event in the way it was booked, because you don't have anybody new in the game here. But at the end of the day, we got to appreciate the fact we're going to get Okada.
Right.
A new, bigger Hangman. Last time Okada saw Hangman, he was a jobber for the Bullet Squad, or for the Bullet Club, rather.
Right.
Adam Cole, one of the big, he turned into one of the biggest names in the sport. And Jay White, this is going to be a great four-way dance. I'm really, really looking forward to it. I do believe Jay White retains the IWGP World Championship.
Yeah, that's who I chose as well.
He will probably get the pin on Adam Cole. That is my prediction as well, but that's not part of our deal. But I thought it was good, but I will say they did a bulk of the storyline for this match in one night. So they were put in a position where it wasn't going great. First of all, Adam Cole and Hangman Page, never have them work a program again, please. There's no magic there. They're both great wrestlers, but I don't feel the magic in this. I didn't feel it their first time around when he on Good Friday with the crown of thorns, crown of barbed wire thorns, and just I'm kind of over Adam Page and Adam Cole. Jay White, though, cuts a mean-ass promo. He's been great every time he's been on television. Jay White is the catalyst. He's one of the biggest names in New Japan. and then you add the Legend of Okada. Now, I don't know, though, if the Legend of Okada is going to get people to buy this pay-per-view. That's the only question I have.
Yeah, especially with the lack of build.
Yeah, exactly. I'm 100% with you. So it's going to be interesting. I think they're going to do well overseas. It's only $15, but I don't know how good it's going to do in America. We'll see.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I mean, even if he was here for a month, they could have had him on like some show, even with a translator, whatever. Like, just doing some PR here, just to kind of stir it up. This has been like the way they promoted it, and again, the injuries were definitely a huge impact, but just otherwise, especially the Okada deal, it's fallen to me. It fell a little bit flat because you have the legend going, and and again, Kenny's not there. That would have been the obvious choice. But yeah, I guess they got to make do. And again, you know what? Like MJF pointed out, you have Tony Khan. He's just a mark. And if you and I were in that same position, I don't know what you and I might have done with this card, if you will. But one of the things I would have definitely wanted out of it is just a little bit more of a build with Okada.
Well, I think they could have presented all of the New Japan guys a little bit better. I think Jay White could have gotten more. He's been in the States. Jay White could have gotten more. I think they did okay with Jay White. He got enough mic time. But I think you could have given more mic time to Will Ospreay, who's very good on the mic. You certainly should have given Zack Sabre Jr. the one opportunity you had. You should have given him a mic. The guy's one of the best in New Japan. So they didn't present the New Japan wrestlers for who they are. You just hear about who they are. And you have to go by Excalibur's opinion of who they are. Zack Sabre Jr., Will Ospreay, Shingo Takagi, Hiromu Tanahashi. These are people that are stars, but if you don't know where they're from, they're just like any other luchador or any other wrestler from New Japan. You just hear about. So they're going to rely on their in-ring ability. They all can wrestle brilliantly. But at the end of the day, the stories are what get people to buy the pay-per-view. The moments are what get people to buy the pay-per-view. As great as this card was, and as good as the card is, again, it's not great. They're missing a lot of people. But as good as the card is, the biggest thing I walked away from AEW Dynamite was Christian Cage is a bad motherfucker. And I cared more about that than anything else on the show.
What does John Laurenitis think of Christian Cage? He's not a main
eventer.
What do you think John Laurenitis would think of a Christian Cage?
I don't know. I don't know about that one. I didn't have a fun enough answer for that.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I don't have my John Laurinaitis guy in me right now, unfortunately.
All right, I got you.
You can think of something, I'll say it, but I can't.
I'm good. I just figured I'd throw it out there.
Cage. Oh, I remember one time Linda put me in a cage while Vince blew his load on my face.
Oh God. Yeah, definitely. Don't put that one out there.
All right, fine. You started it. All right.
I'm sorry.
So, but overall, again, like I said, I think AEW did a good job of making up a lot of ground on really the last 3 weeks, not building this too
well. Yeah, I think you got a point there, man. So, but it'll be interesting to see how these picks pan out for us. What's the only differences that we have?
Well, we have one more. We do have one more.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry.
We didn't do the AEW Interim World Championship. Many people calling it the main event. Hiroshi Tanahashi versus arguably the best wrestler in the world right now, Jon Moxley.
Yeah, I bet the house on Moxley.
I agree. And I'd like to talk about Moxley's promo on AEW Dynamite. It was backstage, and it was quick. But, man, he put over everybody he was working with. He referenced Eddie Kingston. He says how much he hates Chris Jericho. He brought up how much he hates the Jericho Appreciation Society. He started off in almost like a Shakespearean way. And it was a brilliant promo. It really was. And then he switches. But before that, only about the biggest match of my entire life. And he talks about transforming into a better man. He talks about transforming into a dad. And he has referenced he wants to transform into being what he always wanted to be as a kid. And he's talked about in previous interviews He wants to be considered the best wrestler in the world, the greatest wrestler in the world. And he says the way to do that is to beat Tanahashi. And he says he will not have any respect for Tanahashi. And he says that it is very personal. And the AEW championship, Jon Moxley will be the interim AEW championship. But Jon Moxley has made me believe he is that good. And honestly, I was thinking about it while I was taking a piss today.
Ooh.
Nobody has been booked stronger in AEW than Jon Moxley. He's been booked out of the world strong. And that's for 3 years now. So I think Jon Moxley wins this. And what'll be a great match. It'd be a little cooler if it was Okada Moxley, but that's a whole other deal. But Jon Moxley, he has proved me wrong. I didn't know I was going to like his style of wrestling because he's a brawler. But the guy's a hell of a wrestler as well. So, and I think he cuts one of the best promos in the game right now. He is really coming into his own as a professional wrestler. So kudos to the new, in my opinion, will be the new AEW Interim Champion, Jon Moxley. And his super awesome, cool wife, Renee Young. Paquette.
Excuse me, I'm sorry to say, that's Renee Paquette. Renee Young is licensed by the WWE.
Thanks, John. Give it up for John Laurenitis popping in today. You gotta love that. He just comes in and tells us what's up.
I hope he becomes a fixture.
Oh, who knows? Who knows? So we have Vince pops by every once in a while, Macho Man, John Laurenitis. We're really building up the talent and the stars that we have here on High Spots at Cheap Pops. 80 subscribers. You guys are killing it. You're going inching our way to success, but we're so happy people are watching them. We got some really good reactions from the Vince video, so thank you for checking that out. Lottie Dottie, what else do we got in the world of professional wrestling tonight here on This Week on High Spots at Cheap Pops?
You know what? I think we've pretty much covered it all, so unless we want to go dance down the Vincent Kennedy McMahon dirt road of just retribution at this point. I don't know what he's doing.
Wait, did you say retribution?
Yeah.
T-Bar, Mace? Mustafa Ali?
That was actually better than what he's dealing with at this point.
It definitely is.
It's crazy. He's going to be coming out next week for what would be next? SmackDown? He's going to come out and just tell you how much they're selling T-shirts for at the concession stand.
Never again. John Cena will be out on Monday. All right, and everyone's just blown. So what are the differences we had here? We had the dynamic dudes with attitudes. You picked the Bullet Club.
Right.
What other differences do we have?
Miro.
I had Malachi Black. You had Miro. That's going to be the one I took a little bit of a chance on. I almost took a chance with Tony Storm, but I don't think homeboy has the guts to do that. I think that's all we have. I think you picked White. You picked Moxley.
Yep.
You picked Jericho, Guevara, and Suzuki. You picked Ospreay, and you picked FTR. So we have two differences here. It's going to be Malachi Black versus Miro, which we could get a tie if by some ungodly chance Pac wins. I certainly don't think it's going to be Chuck Connor. I honestly couldn't pick him out in a lineup, which makes me shitty, so I'm not that good at Japan stuff. And we also had the Bullet Club against the dudes with attitude. So I am feeling good about that one. I'm not so sure about Malachi Black, but look, we're two matches down, but the Purple Nurple is securely around my gorgeous left shoulder. And I am looking forward to being the longest reigning Purple Nurple champion of all time.
You're the San Martino of Purple Nurples.
I always knew Vince was a sick fucking guy. Every time I saw him, he was doing something weird with his ass.
Thanks, Bruno. Bruno from heaven.
Bruno from heaven.
So we covered everything. We want to thank you guys for being with us for over 100 videos right now. Thank you so very much. From the bottom of my heart. Lottie Dottie, we want to thank all you guys. Please like us. Like the video. Drop a comment. What do you guys think are going to happen this week on Forbidden Door? Who's going to walk out Couple questions I did want to ask. Does Kenny Omega show up at the end or at some point during this pay-per-view? I would think he would at least make an appearance.
He has to.
The Bucks reference that they are pretty much the people who held the door, held the key to the forbidden door, which I thought was a good line by Matt Jackson. But yeah, you would think. And Kenny's been pretty active on Twitter as of late. So I miss Kenny Omega a lot. I think the brand misses Kenny Omega a lot too. He was such a great champion there, out every week, always doing something interesting. Very underrated how good he was.
Yeah. Where do you think he comes out? During the Okada match?
It would have to be.
Yeah.
I mean, there is a chance, and this is in my dream world, Okada wins the title, and then you have Omega walk in and stare him down. That's where you can build something pretty incredible. I think if all things were even, everything was cool, I think they would have had Okada Omega. I think Okada and Omega will headline one of these pay-per-views, one of these Forbidden Door pay-per-views. I'm very confident in that. But it's got to happen first. He's got to be healthy.
Yeah.
That could have been the original plan, but once they weren't getting Kenny, that might have been the route they had to go. I don't know. There's a lot of things that had to happen behind the scene. It seemed it was last minute because of some unknowns, injuries, and all that. I think they're really playing the best hand that they can in this situation without exposing much of the business. So they made up a lot of ground. I still don't know if it could have been done better. Like I said before, I think New Japan, their wrestlers could have been presented better. But overall, I'm not too disappointed. As much as I was.
That's cool. Yeah, I agree with you, man. I see where you're coming from on that for sure. So, but yeah, I'm looking forward to the event, and we'll see how our picks pan out.
Are you getting the pay-per-view?
I don't know yet.
Okay. Fair answer. I will text you only when I win and not when I lose.
That's sad.
But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Always happy. Always a good time when it's an AEW pay-per-view. They have not had a bad pay-per-view yet at all. They have not. They've had ones that haven't been as good as probably maybe previous ones. But every single pay-per-view has been very good. So I'm looking forward to that. And I don't think with this group of talent, they're just going to let him go out there and wrestle. So, ladies and gentlemen, this has been Silicon Steve Dollar with Bladdy. And we want to thank you for listening to High Spots and Cheap Pops. I'm down by 2. I'm coming after you. Here endeth the lesson here on High Spots and Cheap Pops.